One of the key ideas presented in the readings for chapter 12 and 13, I believe, is Barber's understanding and his firsthand experience in realizing that cultural as well as agricultural differences based on the US versus other countries make for diversities of the food that in the crops that we're producing. Barber starts out the chapter of how he goes back to Spain and continues to see the way Eduardo Souza is raising his geese and the way that he harvests these geese, and also gets to see more firsthand about how the pigs are raised in the Dehesa as well. Barber becomes so enthralled with the way that this agricultural system works, and he realizes how well all the components seem to coexist and work well together to bring forth all of these livestock as well as their crops. And he wants to take this idea and bring it back to New York and try to replicate the geese that Eduardo are raising. Amongst what he has considered many failed attempts, he realizes that he was actually replicating the conditions that he was raising these geese under the exact conditions he was trying to avoid. I feel as though this was a particularly defining moment for him, and as it was noted in the text, the agriculture system in the US versus Spain or in other countries in the world, quote unquote, impose preferences on the way that they have produced crops, and the further industrialization of our agriculture system has led us to where we are. In comparison to the agriculture system that he noted in the Dehesa and how there was so much intertwined and how they coexist so well is a direct result of their agricultural system surviving thousands of years under the same conditions versus the industrialization that we have seen in the US. It was also noted in the text, a statement made by Wes Jackson in reference to the US agriculture system says, but sooner or later someone is going to show up and do something stupid to degrade the land. That's been the history of agriculture. Which he is speaking about how we have tried to recreate all these other systems that are seen in different parts of the world, and essentially we're not making them in a sustainable way, and we're making them so in the future they are just fail rather than be able to be sustained for a long period of time. With that being said, I feel like the sustainability that was shown in the way that Eduardo was raising these geese wasn't a matter of a choice of sustainability, but rather a choice of raising his geese in a way that was a matter of survival, which I feel like ties in really well with the text, The Freedom Farmers, Agricultural Resistance, and the Black Freedom Movement, where it discusses Booker T. Washington and development of Tuskegee and how he talks about using the resources that we have in order to sustain, and how sustainability is a big factor relating to survival when it comes to both this country as well as other countries. And our agriculture system, that particularly of the South in the United States, has had to be resourceful in order to sustain their agricultural practices through history. Furthermore, I think the two things that resonated with me most throughout these chapters was how Barber admitted to what he considered to be some of his shortcomings with some things that he had done in his career in specific about raising these geese in hopes of having a certain outcome. However, he was able to realize, as also discussed in previous chapters, how much our conditions in which we raise our food, whether it be crops or animals, dictates the outcome. And also, I think that as much as sustainability has become, I guess, what you can consider a movement, how much it actually dates back to poverty, which is kind of essentially the opposite of the way we view it now in our society.